Hey guys, Josh here, and I played 100 days of Harvest Moon Grand Bazaar. With the upcoming release of Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, I thought why not revisit the original game for the Nintendo DS. I actually played it for 1 year, which is a bit more than 100 days, and in this video I'll be showing you how it went, all the ups and downs of my time in Zephyr Town. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, leave a like on the video, and there's a lot to go through, so let's dive into it. Our time in Grand Bazaar begins with a choice, male or female. I go for male, and this determines my appearance and who I will be able to romance. Now we're setting the scene. Far away from the city lies a small town, known for its gentle, soft wind. The sound of windmills greets the citizens of the town each morning. Lovely. I don't hear the windmills yet, but this guy who's walking alongside me exclaims, "Ah, we're finally here." I don't know his name or why I'm even here, but it sounds like we were just on a fairly long trip together. He tells me this will be my new home and asks for my name and birthday. I'm Josh, I was born on the 3rd day of fall, nice to meet you. And then the man introduces himself as Felix, the mayor of Zephyr Town. This is probably information I should have asked for before following him all the way here, but here we are now, and I am willing to overlook a few formalities since I'm about to be getting a free farm. Felix is showing me around, so this is the bazaar. It happens once a week and visitors come from all over the world to buy things. Or at least they used to. The bazaar is not doing too well at the moment, but Felix is motivated to bring it back to its former glory. He sounds very optimistic, suggests I open a shop here, and that by doing so I could become a famous farmer. I tell him that honestly it sounds boring. He puts on a sad face, and I literally can't say no unless I want to be repeating this dialogue in a loop forever. So I cave in, I accept to give my help, and his enthusiasm comes right back, maybe even a bit too strongly. I can already tell he's quite a unique character, but enough about him, here's my farm. I'm a Canadian who's very bad at coming up with names, so I decide to call it Maple Farm. I can walk, I can run, I can jump, and I can even double jump. It must have something to do with the soft winds of Zephyr Town. Until you come here, you have no idea how good it feels to be a farmer who can jump. I could just jump around all day, but we're on this farm for a reason. There is work to do. Felix asks me to pick up a branch. He's asking for a lot, but I do it and he's immediately impressed. I put the beautiful branch in my bag, and now we're heading inside the house. There's a storage room, which will become very important as I pick up more branches, a basket that magically transfers items to that storage, and alright, that's enough work for today. Farm life is tough, let's sleep. But I can't get too much sleep. At 6 a.m., Felix comes in, and he was not kidding. He's really counting on me to revive his town and bazaar. And to do that, he gives me some farming staples, so a hoe, turnip seeds, and fertilizer. So I get started, and tilling the soil feels so fun. It is somewhat assisted, so I till, head in the direction of the next square on my field, and my character lines up perfectly for each square until I'm all done. I finish planting my turnip seeds, fertilize them for a better quality, and I water everything. Then I notice this giant wooden sign, which I can use to draw anything I want. I'm not too inspired at the moment. I promise the drawings will get better. I'll do one for each season, but this one is not really spring themed. Since it's Maple Farm, I decide to draw a few maple trees. This here looks like a starfish, but it is a sun, believe it or not. And okay, let's move on. I leave the farm. The world is pretty small, but hey, I can jump. So I hop my way down this hill and into Zephyr Town, where I meet Raoul. Raoul runs the general store, one of the only 2 shops in here, outside what you find at the bazaar of course, but that is just once a week. His selection of items is very limited for now, with only fertilizer and turnip seeds. I don't have too much money, but I buy a few turnip seeds. The second and last shop is the cafe, run by Joanne and Marianne, but they're not open yet. It looks like the rules are not the same for everyone, and some don't have to get to work at 6 a.m. Back outside, I meet other villagers such as Lauren and her twin sister Cindy, who's making sure to let me know she is older by 2 minutes. Here's their parents, Isaac and Nellie, and their neighbors, Wilbur and Claire. They look like three pairs of twins. If you ask me, these families are a bit confusing, but as far as I know, the only actual twins are Cindy and Lauren. Wilbur and Claire have a kid named Kevin. He's a little prankster, but jokes on him. He's the only one in his family without a look-alike. Then I meet Sherry. Sherry is pretty, she's single, she seems very sweet, first impressions are great. She's my number one in terms of potential marriage candidates, but she's still the only one I've met. Bonus point for her, she lives in this beautiful house overlooking the town. However, that comes with a caveat. Her dad is Felix. If you want some Felix lore, you want to know a bit more about his personality, he built this house here expressly for the purpose of watching over the entire town. And in his office, there is a giant portrait of himself. I'm exhausted from all that socializing, but on my way home, I see Sherry again. I can't resist talking to her for a second time. I get into a bit of an introvert's nightmare as she starts telling me about her friend Antoinette, who's standing right next to her. So it would be rude not to interact. I say hi to Antoinette, we chat a little bit. She seems shy, she doesn't want to be here, me neither. Maybe we could be friends, but Sherry is still number one. That's enough chit-chat for today. I plant my new turnip seeds and jump into bed. I started the next day with some foraging. There are tons of flowers to pick up everywhere. And I end up in this other part of town where there's a hotel. There I meet Daisy, who tells me all about her family living in the city and how she moved to this hotel to live and work in Zephyrtown. She seems young to be working and doing all of that. Also too young to be available romantically, yet she is. Needless to say, Sherry is still number one. The hotel is run by Stuart and Ethel, who bring the average age back up. They are such a cute couple, but I wonder how they're making a living since there's absolutely no guest in here. Behind the hotel, we have the bazaar grounds. And there's also no business here, nothing happening until the actual bazaar day. I don't know what I expected moving to a town famous for its wind, but yeah, there's not too much going on. In fact, many villagers have to go out every single day for work, like Ivan, who's a teacher, and Freya, who is focused on her career. She's so busy with work that I rarely see her in town, so while she is single and I'm sure very nice, I feel like I would get in the way of her ambitions. Just like that, I've met all of the bachelorettes except for Emiko, who won't be here until next year. And that is beyond the scope of what we're doing here, so Sherry is still number one. I spend a good portion of my days picking up all of these beautiful flowers, and I think you can guess now who they're for. Yes, Raoul. I'm a bit like Freya, business comes first. In Zephyrtown, there is no shipping bin to sell things at any time, so most of my income will be generated at the bazaar. But from Sunday to Thursday, Raoul can buy stuff from me at a lower price. I also purchased a few more turnip seeds from him, but before planting them, let me introduce you to my newfound hobby, river diving. Listen, when you live in the countryside, you do what you can to entertain yourself. So I just jump into the river over and over again. Not good for my stamina, but sometimes I find little treasures. Here, for example, after jumping in 5 times, something gets stuck to my clothes, and it is a branch. A real branch, just like the one I picked up on my farm. I go back for 5 more dives, and right as Antoinette is passing by, I find this small coin. She's shy, I know Antoinette wants that coin so bad, but she's not getting it. I sell it to Raoul for 50G, plus I get 20G for my branch, and I have enough to buy 1 more turnip seed. I do some farm work, then I take a bath in my house, and in a very symbiotic way, the water that took energy from me earlier is now giving it back. So naturally, I keep the cycle going by jumping back into the river, but she is playing hard to get now, and it takes me 12 attempts only to find another small coin. I'm completely exhausted. I know what we're doing here is not going to work in the long term, but for now, this river is the only thing that keeps me busy. The next day, turnips are sprouting. Excited, I run to have a look, and that's how I learned you shouldn't run over crops. You can walk slowly and you're fine while watering, but if you run, they will take damage and their quality will decrease. I'm not used to this, I do my best, but I'm clumsy and I trample over them a few times. I am just as clumsy when it comes to relationships. I try giving this flower to Sherry. I'm too nervous, so I throw it at her, falls on the ground, I pick it back up, and when I finally hand it properly, Sherry is really good about it. I don't know if she's telling the truth, but she says she loves it. It's way less stressful with Raoul, who takes the rest of my flowers. I use the cash as always to get more turnip seeds, plant them, then it's river time until the end of the day. That is the routine I try to stick to. Today I get empty cans, 1 empty can, 2 empty cans, 3 empty cans, oh, and 1 sea urchin, and that's where it starts to get interesting as Raoul gives me 250G for that. Friday, my first turnips are ready to be harvested. Some are only half a star due to my clumsiness, which is the lowest quality possible, but most of them are 1 star out of 5. It's not great by any means, but for a first harvest, it could be worse. Now would be a good time to mention the freshness system. Most products start at super fresh and degrade slowly over time to fairly fresh, not so fresh, getting bad and rotten. This is separate from the star quality, but the fresher an item is, the more of its value you get while selling. Luckily, the bazaar is tomorrow, so I don't have to worry about the freshness of these turnips, but without proper planning, this is something that could become a problem. After throwing some flowers at Sherry, I search for Raoul to buy more seeds, but he's not working, he's taking a break, and I get it, he totally deserves it. Every Friday, his brothers Diego and Enrique come to his place for some precious family time preparing for the bazaar, and it's simply wholesome. Meanwhile, I'm spending time in the river, not as wholesome, but it pays off as I manage to find gold. A huge chunk of gold, then we're back to normal with the usual branches and cans. When I wake up on Saturday, Felix tells me everything I need to know about the bazaar. It starts at 10 a.m. ends at 7 p.m., and during that time frame, I'm free to open or close my stall, to shop. I can go in and out of the bazaar, do whatever I want. Everyone is setting up their stall right now. This is so exciting. We have Raoul, of course, who will be selling seeds. Here is Lloyd. I did not introduce him yet, but he lives in a cabin down the mountain, and he will be selling ores. Next is Wilbur, who will handle field and storage expansions. And so far, everyone is telling me business is not good at all since the last farmer left, so the pressure is high. We then have Joanne and Marianne with their cafe, Enrique with animals, and the other brother Diego is not here, but most of the stalls are empty at the moment, so we can expect him to have a shop in the future. Lastly, we have this girl from out of town working at her gift wrapping station. We don't know her name. The poor girl came all the way here to support our little bazaar and encourage us to gift each other. She deserves some recognition, so let's call her Stacy. Please show some love for Stacy by leaving a like on the video. Look at her, I think she would sincerely appreciate it if we got to 3,000 likes. And let's wish her the best at the bazaar today. Oh, one last thing before I open my shop. I run back home and turn my turnips into turnip salads, increasing their value. I'm back just in time for the opening. Felix announces that our goal should be to make between 15,000 and 20,000 G, and that is the goal for each stall. Not very realistic, but I'll do my best. I can display up to 3 stacks of items at a time on my counter. So I have this chocolate bar that Felix just gave me to teach me how to run the bazaar, a few turnip salads, and this big shiny chunk of gold. I ring a bell to grab the attention of customers, and within a few seconds, this lady buys 2 salads for 330G each, and this older guy knows what he wants. Without even trying to haggle, he pays 8,000 for the gold. Yes, 8,000. This is probably beginner's luck, but this first bazaar is going well. Whenever there's an empty space on the counter, I can display something else, and for this week, it's mostly random things I foraged. Nothing too valuable. By 12:30, the Maple Farm stall is out of stock, with a revenue of 14,250. Now comes the fun part, time to spend. So I go see my buddy Enrique and purchase a calf for 6,000 G. I name her Milky in honor of Milky Tea here on YouTube. If you know, you know. I hope she's doing great. And I also get a chick for 3,500 that I name Chicky to match with Milky. As I walk by Raul's stand, I notice that he's selling some potato and cabbage seeds. So if I want to grow anything other than turnips, this is my chance. I spend a few thousands on seeds and I'm already out of money. I would love to buy some more stuff, so I go out for a few hours of foraging, and that is when I discover bug catching. I thought that these butterflies and other critters were only there for the atmosphere, but I can catch them using my hands. They're not worth that much, at least the ones I caught only go for 20 to 50 G, but I managed to finish the day with just 200 G short of meeting the goal of 15,000. Not quite there, and more than half of what I made was thanks to the gold. But no matter what Felix will say, I am satisfied with this first bazaar. Honestly, I had a blast. It was such a packed, busy day, filled with selling and shopping, and now we're about to go back to the normal pace for a week as I prepare for the next bazaar. I stay up until 10:30 p.m. planting all of my new seeds, then I get some well-deserved rest. As I wake up, Enrique shows up to deliver the animals I ordered. He explains that on sunny days I can put them outside where they will find food by themselves. Otherwise, I should place food for them inside the barn, which is conveniently connected to my house. And of course, if the animals are not well fed or cared for, they risk getting sick. Enrique gives me a milker for when Milky becomes an adult. But before I even get to see her, Felix has an announcement. Every morning following the bazaar, he will be doing this meeting to discuss our performance. I somehow made it as the third best earner, with Lloyd in second and Joanne in first. I'm excited, proud, everyone's cheering, and to recognize my hard work, Felix gives me a single bag of fertilizer, all while having the audacity to laugh. For context, Raul sells this for 10G. It is the cheapest thing you can find. A gift is a gift, so I don't want to sound ungrateful. I remind myself I got a free farmhouse. Putting up with this strange mayor is the least I can do. So I keep smiling, and on a brighter note, look at how cute and tiny Milky is. I love her. I'm new to this. As you can see, I'm struggling to push her at first, but we do make it outside. With Chicky, it's easier as I can just grab her and throw her into the pen outside where she bounces. Animals are fine outside for today, but as a responsible rancher, I need to prepare for a rainy day, and Raul added feed to his products lineup, along with animal medicine. Money's a bit tight, but I can put together a few turnip salads that I sell to Raul, and I secure some animal feed and more turnip seeds. I spent my last 90G on fertilizer, so with the one bag I got from Felix, that is a grand total of 10 crops I can fertilize. For best results, each crop can be fertilized once a day, but I do what I can with what I have, so it's just once in a while for now. When my work is done, time to get to know my fellow Zephyrians a bit more with the Flower Festival. Everyone seems very enthusiastic for this event, except for Lloyd. Despite the fact that he's physically here and chatting with all of us, his mind must be somewhere else, as he keeps asking, "What festival is this again?" I hope he's listening as Felix starts explaining the event, but just in case Lloyd hears how it works. The objective is to give out as many flowers as possible to other villagers, but it's not just today. It lasts 5 days, so Lloyd, remember that, from the 8th to the 12th. The winner will be the one who gave out the most flowers, and like Felix says, really, as long as everyone gets flowers, everyone wins, which is Mayor's speech for "we didn't prepare too many prizes for you." So I get started. I have flowers in my bag already. I pick up all the flowers I can find to save them for the next days, and around 5 p.m., I return to my farm and notice how my fields are dry. Did I forget to water them this morning? Is there something in Zephyr Town's gentle winds that is affecting everybody's short-term memory? No, everything is fine, at least with me. I didn't know because I always went to bed early in my first week, but crops can be watered twice a day for a faster growth. If I water my potatoes once a day, they would take 8 days to grow, meaning they would be ready for the day right after the next bazaar. I would be stuck with them for a whole week, they'd be taking space in my bag and storage, and risk losing some of their freshness. But if I water them twice a day, they will be ready in 6 days, so I can sell them at peak freshness during the bazaar. With all of that, I got a bit too excited, And I forgot to bring my animals back in before going to bed. And of course, now it's raining. I act as quickly as I can. Chicky is fine, I bring her inside. But Milky is giving me a really hard time as I try pushing her inside the barn. Rain or shine, once they're outside, animals will try to stay outside until 5 p.m., whereas usually they would walk back inside as they get closer to the barn. So when I'm pushing Milky this morning, because it's early, she's actively walking back into the pasture, and then of course she gets mad because of the rain. So I try again to push her into the barn, she runs back to the pasture. We fight like this for a little while, but in the end we're all good. And luckily I bought food for her and Chicky yesterday. Most of the villagers also prefer to stay at home while it rains, and it makes it very convenient to find them for the flower festival. I also don't have to worry about watering my crops, so once I'm done giving all the flowers, there's not too much to do. With all of my free time and extra energy, I do a bit of river diving, but ever since the day I found the one gold ore, the river goddess, if there is one, has not been too generous towards me. On day 10, Milky and Chicky are enjoying the sunshine again. I tend to my crops, then I give out as many flowers as I can for the festival, and I wonder, why am I not receiving any? Felix told us that everyone would be winners if everyone got flowers, but so far it's looking like they all want me to lose. What they don't know is that this motivates me even more to actually win by becoming the best flower giver. There is no way to keep track of the score, so I don't know exactly what my chances are, but I do my best for the few days we have left, and I chat with some of my competitors to see how things are going for them. Lloyd is often hanging out around the mountains, probably picking up flowers, so I check with him, and nope, he's still trying to figure out what this festival is all about. We've been doing this for 5 days now. Clearly, I don't have to worry about him for the competition, but I am worried for him. On the 12th at 12, Felix announces the winner, and the person who gave out the most flowers this last week is Lloyd. Just kidding, it's Marianne. There is still no score or clear ranking, so who knows if I was close to winning or not. Who was even keeping track of how many flowers Marianne gave? I didn't get anything from her, so who knows. I do have concerns regarding the legitimacy of this competition, but I am coming out of it with an important lesson learned. Relationships here are extremely one-sided. If I want any chance at winning someone's love or even just friendship, it will take a very long time of gifting them daily, and I shouldn't expect too much in return. I know it sounds depressing. Everyone is telling me to cheer up, to keep working hard, including Lloyd, who says not to worry about it, but I don't know if he's someone I should take advice from. So I will worry about it, and I will make sure that every day I take the time to give something to Sherry specifically, as she is my priority, and I will also interact with the other villagers as much as I can. 2 days later, on the 14th, my gift-giving skills are being put to the test again with Harmony Day. This is the day when boys give chocolate to girls, and on the 14th of winter, it will be the other way around. Since it falls on a Saturday, the bazaar is being pushed back to Sunday. I was looking forward to this bazaar, my potatoes were ready, so were my turnips, but waiting an extra day won't hurt. Potatoes and turnips are not chocolate though, and I don't know what I should do for Harmony Day. I don't have ingredients to cook any dessert by myself, so I stopped by the cafe. They are selling cookies and cakes for 600 and 930 G, but I only have 5G in my pockets until the bazaar tomorrow. I don't think Joanne is willing to negotiate, and I can't blame her, I'm just as stubborn. I don't want to sell anything to Raoul one day before the bazaar. I know I am missing out on some extra friendship points, but I still give Sherry some flowers. Not the most productive day, but when I look around, I don't feel too bad. Here's Angelo, for example. He is Zephyr Town's artist. Sometimes, and I mean very rarely, he works on this giant Felix statue, but more often than not, he's just wandering about and complaining about being sleepy. I'm sure he did not give out any chocolates today, but that he will still find love eventually. He's the kind of inspiration I need today. Let's go to bed early and catch some sleep, as we have a big day at the bazaar tomorrow. I prepared some turnip salads. I couldn't come up with any recipe for my potatoes, but it's okay. Even raw, they are selling for more than my salads. Admittedly, my products are a bit bland, but to spice things up, I have my first special interactions. At 2:16 p.m., Ivan shows up and he says, "Hello, Josh." "Hello, Ivan." He continues and says, "There's something nice about the spring bazaar. I think it's my favorite." Now, I have three possible responses. 1, it has a nice atmosphere. 2, winter is better, which would be an obvious lie since I've never seen the winter bazaar. And 3, who cares, buy something. Number 3 is tempting, but not very good for business. And I like Ivan, so I tell him about the nice atmosphere. He's happy, and my reputation goes up a lot. 2:25 p.m., that is 9 minutes later, Ivan shows up again and says, "Looks like you're working hard. How are things going?" I tell him things are going great, and it's true as I sold for 10,000 G worth of stuff already. He likes my response and positive attitude, and again, my reputation goes up a lot. 2:40 p.m., barely 15 minutes since our last interaction, Ivan comes back to buy some mint, and then this little kid shows up dressed up as a chicken or a duck, I don't know, but he's adorable, and asks if he can get this empty can for free. He's just a kid, it's an empty can. Sure, why not? Take it, have fun. The kid leaves, and around 3:30, Ivan couldn't spend a whole hour without me. He comes back to buy some turnip salads that I'm sure will pair well with his mint. But now he tells me there's a child who's lost. I don't see any child with him. Maybe he's talking about the chicken kid. He didn't seem lost to me. But I say, "Oh no, let's help." And not even a second later, Ivan tells me not to worry about it, that he already found the parents, that I'm really kind, and my reputation goes up a lot. By the way, it keeps telling me that my reputation is going up a lot. There is no way to track it, but apparently I've been doing a great job so far. Let's face it though, I think Ivan is just looking for excuses to talk to me. He's been pacing back and forth around my shop all day, coming back to chat every few minutes, and I appreciate the dedication. He does look cute, but this is 2010 Zephyr Town. We can't be more than friends, Ivan, even if we wanted to. Alright, if you insist, you know what? Let's make a deal. Meet me here at the bazaar on August 27th, 2025. I know it sounds far away for you, but we can try again at that time. He has no clue what I'm talking about, but make sure you subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss our reunion. Between all of these interactions with Ivan, I got normal customers as well, and I made close to 14,000 G. Similar to my first week, but considering that the river didn't want to help me, it's really not too bad. With this, I buy a lamb for 8,000. Here's Claudie. Enrique will deliver her to my farm tomorrow along with some shears. And then I buy some seeds, reopen my stall to sell a few more things, and that's pretty much it. The second bazaar was a success. Here are the results. Again, I'm in third place. Wilbur and Joanne beat me in sales. But you know what they can't beat me in? Customer satisfaction. That's right, thanks to the empty can I gave to the chicken kid, and Ivan, mostly Ivan, I win the title of Best Customer Satisfaction for the week. And it's a double win as Felix rewards me with some lavender. The flower festival ended almost a week ago, but I did get a flower in the end. It's now Monday, so the time until the next bazaar is a bit shorter than usual. My cabbage is growing well, I planted tons of new seeds. I am predicting another good week, and I would love to finally meet that goal of 15,000. When my chores are done, I give Sherry her daily flower, and she thanks me for the birthday gift. Well, of course, happy birthday, Sherry. I knew it was today. I even made the effort to not throw the flower at you. I'm so glad you like it. Say what you want, but I think I'm doing pretty well. That is what I tell Felix when he asks if I'm getting the hang of things. And he goes on to ask if I want to learn about multiplayer. Multiplayer with Sherry? Nope, too early for that. But if I had 3 real friends on my Wi-Fi network, each with their own Nintendo DS and a copy of Harvest Moon Grand Bazaar. So that's not happening, but we could visit each other's farms, bazaar, and play together, which sounds super fun. Let me know if you ever had the chance to try it. Who needs friends anyway when you have the river goddess on your side? The tides have turned, and instead of the usual empty can, I get a can, yes, but filled with tea leaves. Raoul is offering 300G, but I will hold on to it a bit longer. By the way, we need to address one very special thing about Zephyr Town besides its gentle winds, and that is its bounciness. You may know that Chicky bounces around when I throw her. She's also an adult now, so she lays eggs that are just as bouncy. In my free time, I can practice my basketball skills by throwing them in this basket. And when I'm not doing that, I bounce on fences and bridges for hours and hours. I was bored when I first moved in, but this town is starting to grow on me. I also find these shortcuts to get to different parts of town faster, and I can jump on these barrels to reach new areas, and it gives me a bit of stamina, or should I say a spring in my step. I'm having the time of my life until Cindy, the twin who made sure to let me know she was the oldest one by 2 minutes, tries to burst my bubble with a "Josh, shouldn't you be like working?" I don't know where she got that attitude from, but don't you agree that life is too short to not bounce around? Raoul agrees with me. I jump on the barrel in front of his house, make my way through the chimney, and end up in his room in front of the fireplace. This is lit. Like he tells me, you can't just farm all day, you know. You have to get to know your customers. So I spent some time getting to know him and his brothers. We have a little fiesta, and before I know it, it is Saturday again. The first item I sell is my can of tea for $4.80, and when I put my freshly harvested cabbage on the counter, this old man stops by, claiming he's too tired and wants me to give him one for free. Absolutely not. Cabbage isn't gonna do much for your energy anyway. You should ask Joanne and get some nice carbs instead. My reputation takes a hit, but I have no regret, as right after my cabbage starts selling like hotcakes at 840G a piece. Oh, and look who's here, Ivan. He's asking me the same question about the atmosphere of the Spring Bazaar, which makes up for my bad interaction with the old man. I appreciate it, but I have to remind him we can't be together for now. He doesn't get it. 20 minutes later, he comes back with the same exact question. Another 20 minutes after that, he asks how I'm doing, and then he brings up the same lost child scenario as last week. He never stops. I try to keep working as if everything was fine. I make close to 12,000G, not my best day, but it is enough to restock on seeds and to buy a new chick. For the first time, I do not even make it into the top 3, but my buddy Raoul is number 1. He has the happiest customers, and I love that for him. Even though I never quite met the weekly goal, I have made enough sales in total that the bazaar is now the best in the region. More stalls will be there next week with Sherry selling seeds, and we will have some hardware and furniture shops as well, and I'm looking forward to all of those. Our next objective is to become the best bazaar in the country, with a weekly sales goal of 40 to 50,000. This seems like a lot as I couldn't even do 15,000, but summer is coming soon, and that might make it easier. I'm also starting to see some progress with my relationships. As I walk into town, I meet up with Sherry. We're having some small talk when Claire and Nelly stop by to catch up with her about some cake that Claire made earlier. It sounds like I missed out on a delicious treat. Right after they leave, Stuart and Ethel come thank Sherry for the massage she gave them the other day. I missed out on that too. Then Stuart makes a bit of an awkward comment about getting a massage from a young woman. It gets weird, he runs back home in shame. Ethel goes after him, and that's it. Everybody likes Sherry, she's amazing. But that also means I have some competition. Shortly after this scene, I stumble upon Lloyd, who's showing off some flower that he found to Marianne, puts it on her hat, and then Sherry comes in, and he does the same for her while comparing her to a flower princess. She's not too sure what it means, and let's face it, he most likely also doesn't know. Plus, what does he know about flowers? This guy spent 5 days trying to figure out the objective of the flower festival. Needless to say, I'm not too worried about Sherry falling for him, but befriending him is an unfortunate requirement for marrying her, so I will have to get used to Lloyd. We will dive more into that later, but right now there's people at my door, a lot of people. First, Chen and Gannon. No, not the Gannon you're thinking of. They do look a bit similar, but he's just a carpenter. and Chen is a merchant. You will be familiar with them if you've played Harvest Moon Island of Happiness or Sunshine Islands, and they will be the two new shopkeepers at the bazaar. There's still more people waiting at the door, so behind them is Felix, who tells me that on the 30th, we will be celebrating the tea festival. I'm thinking, oh, I should have kept my can of tea from earlier, but no worries. He does me a favor and gives me some tea leaves that I can use to contribute to this year's event. The last guest we have this morning is Isaac, who wants to discuss windmills with me. Let's do it. He walks me to the red windmill that's on my farm. I don't know why he waited so long to do this, but here I will be able to ferment products. To turn milk into cheese, egg into mayonnaise, and I am well aware that mayonnaise is not fermented. I'm just conveying whatever he's telling me. And technicalities aside, this windmill will be so useful. There will be 2 other windmills to unlock later, but with this one already, there are so many possibilities. Various cheeses, yogurts, teas, wines, pickled vegetables. Tons of ways to increase the value of products or to preserve them. Only thing I can make with what I have right now is a fertilizer, using weeds and branches. I put those in and it will do its thing automatically. The duration of the process depends on what I'm making and the strength of the wind on that specific day, which can be seen with these blue bars here alongside the weather icon on the clock. Since this is a DS game, I could blow into the microphone to speed things up. I guess it helps if you're in a rush, but I was live streaming this entire playthrough here on YouTube and Twitch, and it felt awkward to constantly do that in front of everyone, so I left it into the hands of Mother Nature, or actually Zephyrus, whom I learned is the Greek god of the west wind, who is apparently very gentle, and this explains why this place is Zephyrtown. The windmill has a timer letting me know that the fertilizer will be ready in an hour, but it is bazaar day and I have other things to do than just stand there and wait. It's the 28th already, time for my last big harvest of the month. A few crops are still growing, but don't worry, there are 31 days per month here, as it should. It's a small detail, but 31 days make it so every month and every year is a bit different. You could have 4 bazaars on one month, 5 the next. Also, if a festival falls on a Saturday, the bazaar gets pushed to Sunday. Things are always changing, and it is crucial to have a look at the calendar regularly. My big harvest is paying off at the bazaar, and Ivan is nowhere to be seen. I think he finally got the hint, so I can focus on my customers, and it must be working as by 1 PM, I'm already over 20,000 in sales. I take a break from work to check out the new shops. Here's the cookware store selling cooking utensils like a frying pan and a pot, which would allow me to cook more dishes. Right beside is Chen, who is selling random rotating ingredients. And this week it's sea urchins, along with seeds for asparagus and strawberries. Problem is, those are spring crops, and we're too close to the end of the month to grow anything new. Sherry is selling some grape and muscat tree seeds. They take 2 months to grow and produce fruits in the fall. So if I plant them today or tomorrow, I could maybe get 1 harvest out of them this year. There are also some shops that are not new but that I somehow completely missed or forgot to check in the previous weeks. So Felix is selling chocolate, which would have been helpful to know for Harmony Day, as well as a sickle and a brush. I make sure to buy these 2 tools, but I don't think you'll see me use the sickle at any point in this first year. Its only purpose will be to clutter my bag. Next, we have Joanne's Cafe. She sells a rotating variety of dishes, and when you buy something from her, she also teaches you the recipe for it. Not a business practice Mr. Krabs would approve of, but it is working for her, and that is how I will get to learn how to make more than turnip salads. I buy some chocolate cookies, and the recipe for that will come in handy for next year's Harmony Day. Here we have Gannon, who can either make my stall bigger, allowing me to sell more items at a time, or he can upgrade my storage to make my products stay fresh longer. So far, these things have not really been a problem, so I pass. Wilbur is offering similar work so he can expand my fields, which I could see becoming a problem soon, and he can also expand the capacity of my storage. All of these upgrades are pretty expensive though, so it won't be for this week. There's also this guy selling a bigger bed for 10,000 G. I'm still very far from needing that. I just buy a few seeds from Sherry before I forget. Then I return to work. Guess who's back? Ivan wants a discount for this potato. And with how much this guy helped my shop's reputation, I can't say no. There's also this chicken kid. All the kids are chicken kids, by the way. But on top of it, this one is also pretending to be an airplane. Naturally, I cheer him on, I tell him it looks so fun. But then, plot twist, he turns into a fighter jet, gets mad, and I lose some of my reputation. Shortly after, this woman stops by, says my walnuts are very cute. I never associated walnuts with cute, but who am I to judge? She wants some walnuts. They're not worth much, why not? So I tell her to take them for free. She says, thank you, I'm so happy. She has these little hearts in her dialogue. And then, plot twist again, she starts laughing, runs away, and I lose reputation points again. Once you know them, the correct answers are always the same, but some of these interactions are truly confusing. It's still a great day overall. I make 26,000 G. I end up buying the cooking pot, another calf, and I feel so bad. I completely forgot about Stacy. Stacy from the gift wrapping shop. I haven't talked to her since the first week. So I get the chocolate cookies wrapped. Then I can choose the color for the box. Stacy explains how everybody has a favorite color. I don't know what color Sherry likes, so I go for the red box, the color of love. She wraps it so beautifully, and I don't think red is her favorite color, but Sherry is still happy about the cookies. Back to the farm, I plant a grape tree. Yes, grapes grow on trees in this world, and they occupy 9 squares, which is a sixth of my entire field. I was not expecting them to be so big. I bought a bunch of seeds, but for now I will just plant one grape tree in the top right corner. I want to put the muscat tree just below, but potatoes are still growing there, so I'll wait. Before going to bed, I check on the windmill. The fertilizer is ready, and while the quality of it is higher than what I would get from Raul, I don't know if it's worth the effort of collecting weeds and branches to make it. Let's try making something else. Milky is an adult now, so she is producing milk that I can turn into cheese. I don't love the fact that I'm putting the fresh milk in the same machine that just made fertilizer, but maybe it will give a subtle earthy fragrance to the cheese. The morning following the bazaar, there's always this option to skip the announcement of the results, and I know I won't make it into the top 3. There's no point in me going there every week, but somehow, I still do just in case, and I don't want to upset Felix as after all, I am trying to marry his daughter. She's always standing beside him during these meetings, and as I am looking at them, I wonder, where is Sherry's mom? Then I look to my right, I see Claire, and I see clearly that these two have the same kind of wavy red hair. I also recall when Claire made a cake for Sherry. They seem to have a really good connection, and I didn't think too much of it at first, but I am starting to connect the dots. Now, what about Kevin, Claire and Wilbur's son? He looked out of place until now, but he's actually dressed in a very similar way to Sherry, right? Mostly a blue and white outfit with some black on the top. And I know most people here are wearing hats, but they are the only two with that very specific cut-out inverted triangle on the brim of their hat. Is Claire trying to send a message to someone? Does Sherry know anything? What about Wilbur, poor guy? What's his role in all of that? Honestly, I don't know. It's 6 a.m., too early to uncover deep family secrets. And I don't want to start any drama, but if you have any theories, I would love to hear them. Everybody's cheering, which means Felix finished talking, and I'm going back to minding my own business. I harvest my last potatoes, plant my muscat tree in their place. Farming is officially done for the month. The cheese is ready. Its description says it's delicious. So I guess the earthy fragrance is working. Next, I will be trying yogurt. When I visit Sherry on that day, first of all, she went from a black heart to a purple one. That is progress for a relationship. And she's telling me how her father's cooking is very unique, as she puts it politely, and that is why she's in charge of cooking for the household. There are not too many great cooks in this town. Where could she be getting her cooking skills from? I think we all know. Alright, it's time to spill the tea. And what better place to do that than at the tea party? Joanne brings the snacks, I bring the tea, well, Felix did technically, and we're all having a great time. As much as I would love to create a bit of drama, these beautiful white tablecloths are too nice to spill any tea on, so I stay on my best behavior for now. After the party, Joanne gives me an extra slice of apple pie, but I'm still hungry. You know what would be good right now? Cheesecake. I mix some cheese, milk, and egg into my cooking pot, and tada, one of the best desserts in the entire world. At the same time, I level up my cooking, didn't know it was even possible, and I will be trying to make as many of these cheesecakes as possible, since in most cases, cooked dishes are worth more than the sum of their individual ingredients. This is not true for everything. It depends on the star quality of the items, your cooking level, which affects the star quality of the dish. But without getting too deep into the calculations right now, cheesecake will be worth it. Yogurt, not so much. Cheese by itself, also not worth it. The only problem with the cheesecake is that it requires 2 milk, one of them turned to cheese, plus 1 egg. I have 2 adult chickens, but only 1 adult cow with a second one still growing, so I always have more eggs than milk. Eggs are not worth that much by themselves. There are only 12 slots in my storage in total, and items of different quality levels don't stack. So long story short, I can see myself struggling with space soon. We'll figure that out during summer. Before wrapping up the month, I go foraging for the last flowers of spring, and I discover that by putting some in this vase at home, they'll stay there for a few days, and looking at them will replenish some of my stamina. I also catch up with my flower princess, as we are having our second little love event. We're casually hanging out by the waterfall, and we're enjoying the last breeze of spring in this romantic place. She asks about my farm, says that one day she'll buy my products at the bazaar. I don't know what she's waiting for. Oh, there it is. She's hoping for a discount. And sure, I would love to give her a discount. That's it. Not as romantic as I was hoping for, but still a lovely way to end the month. It's now summer. The grass is this deep, vibrant green. Cicadas are singing, and it's time for some art. Goodbye, giant starfish with sunglasses. Hello, romantic sunset, beach, and palm tree. I realize I should have added some other colors in the sky. It doesn't really look like a sunset, but I tried to do something within 15 minutes, and we can't argue that it's already a huge improvement over the previous one. Plus, I can't wait to see everything this new season has to offer. New things to forage, like poison mushrooms, be careful. And this is not a summer thing, but I'm starting to notice these sparkles on the ground, which are coins that I can pick up and sell for money. I catch up with Raoul, who now, instead of selling turnip seeds, is selling radish seeds. They are more expensive, so I can't afford too many, just a few bags, and the bazaar is in 3 days. I'm not sure if they will have time to grow for this week. We'll be starting slow, but I can tell this will be a great month. I wake up to great news the next day, as Felix gives me a fishing rod. I can now walk up to these wooden docks, cast my fishing rod, press A few times when it bites, and catch something. No more jumping into the river. I can now get empty cans all while staying dry. Between the cans, I also find some dead fish, but once in a while I find some live fish as well. And since right now I don't have much farming to do, most of my days are spent fishing. I was not expecting much, but my radishes do make it in time for the bazaar. It must be the double watering at work, and it is a small harvest, but along with my cheesecake, potatoes, I sneak in a poison mushroom here and there, and I make 14,000. 8,000 of that goes to Felix for a hammer, and the rest goes to buy tomato, corn, and pumpkin seeds, crops that can all be harvested multiple times. I can't see Ivan anywhere this week. I guess he really did like the spring bazaar better, and on one hand it is freeing, but I can't lie, I am a bit sad. Maybe he did find someone else and moved on, who knows. Nothing better to release my emotions than a hammer. I've been wanting to break these rocks since I moved in, and it's not working, they're just part of the environment. But wait, I also have these ores that I got from the river at some point. Breaking them reveals a surprise, in this case, copper. I'm sure it will be useful, but it is extra items to keep in my storage, and I'm starting to regret not having purchased a storage expansion already. Just like my storage, my field is almost completely filled up. I'm still not making it into the top 3 for the bazaar, but it is normal with the seasonal transition, and I am confident for what's to come. Let's just see where we're at so far. There is this bookshelf in my house where I keep track of everything. The bazaar level is at 25%. This metric goes up by increments of 25% when reaching milestones, and I only did that once. I have 3 out of 20 barn animals, 2 out of 20 chickens. The limit seems pretty high, and I notice that eventually I will be able to have pets and a horse. I can see my weekly earnings, and since the beginning it's been fairly stable. Not so much growth, but building a farm is a long-term venture. So are relationships. I have been trying to talk to people, gifting Sherry almost every single day, but she is still only at 2 hearts out of 10, while everybody else is at 0. There is so much room for improvement, but it just takes a long time. There's also a list with all of the items I can find. Cooking recipes, I've not done too much of that. I caught 11 of the 49 different types of fish. Pretty good considering I just got my fishing rod. But I only found 7 out of the 85 critters. Critters can be a pain to catch, most of them are not worth a lot of money. But now that I know there is this huge encyclopedia to fill up, I'll try to do a bit more of it. This bookshelf is truly a goldmine of information, but what I'm taking out of it at the moment is that I need to make more friends. Since I've been fishing a lot, I'm thinking let's give out some fish, and I start with Lloyd, who lives the closest to my house. I proudly offer him my latest catch, and being someone who lives in the woods, you would think he would like it, but he just finds it weird. Never mind, I give up on the gifts. People are so judgmental here. Raoul will be more than happy to buy these gifts from me. I also learned how to make fish paste, a mistranslation of Japanese fish cake, and that is when I stumble upon something very annoying with cooking. Recipes like the fish paste can be made from various types of fish, but not all of them. If you know what you're doing and you cook without going through the recipe just by selecting the ingredients, it's no problem. But if you cook using the recipe list, it only remembers one variation, and if you don't have the same fish that was used the previous time, it will tell you you can't make the recipe. There is an option to revise a recipe so you can change the default ingredient it will search for in the future, but you can never have multiple variations at a time, if that makes sense. Anyway, it is annoying, but outside of the fish-based recipes, it's not too much of a problem. To make the whole process slightly less tedious, fortunately cooking does take items directly from storage, and that helps. So I try to fish for a few hours every day, and sometimes I notice Ivan looking at me from a distance. He has not fully moved on after all, me neither. Other than that, my garden is amazing, look at it. My animals too. Cloudy started producing wool, but that means a new type of item, and the struggle with storage is getting real. It's bazaar day, I make a few salads using my tomatoes, my bag is full, the storage is full. Luckily I can throw things on the ground, they all bounce so they won't break. I'm having a bit of a hectic morning. I scramble to make my way to the bazaar. I get there at 10:30, I will sell whatever I have in my bag, and I'll do a second run after. Despite the chaos, it's a good day with close to 20,000 in sales. I buy an onion salad and I get Stacy to wrap it for Sherry. Sherry is wearing a blue dress, so I go for the blue box. Still not her favorite color, but she really likes the food. I don't know if it's love on my mind or something else, but even though I've been running around all day and struggling with storage, instead of buying the storage expansion I'm seriously needing, I end up getting 1 chick and 1 full-grown chicken. I already have way more eggs than milk. Admittedly, this is not the smartest purchase for now, but trust me, there will be a reward for having all of these chickens. As is the norm for now, I don't make it into the top 3, but it's fine. Most days during summer end up all feeling the same, but on the 13th, I wake up to my first typhoon. There's no more background music, just heavy rains and strong winds. I was craving for some change and I love it. As soon as I step outside, the wind is physically pushing me. Zephyrus is not in a good mood. He's mad I didn't get the storage upgrade. The windmill is spinning like crazy, so I take advantage of that to make some cheese. And here comes Isaac, braving the storm to tell me, hey, you've been using the windmill a lot, maybe we need to replace its parts. I'm not a windmill expert, I don't think this is the best time to do maintenance work. But after taking a quick look, Isaac confirms that all the parts are still in good shape, and that my windmiller level has changed. So that is when I level up and become an apprentice windmiller. Similarly to the cooking level, this will affect the quality of everything I make with the windmill. After that, I go out of my farm, and as I'm jumping around, I can really feel the wind pushing against me or giving me a boost depending on which direction I'm going in. I'm having so much fun, Cindy wouldn't understand. It's my lucky day, I find a gold coin on the ground, and I don't think there's a correlation with the storm, but it is my first time getting my hands on this more valuable kind of coin. Not even an hour after starting my cheese in the windmill, I receive a notification telling me it's ready. I never really paid too much attention at how long it usually takes, but it's certainly never been this fast. Everything is going well, and in the wise words of Felix, what a beautiful day. That is what he says today despite the storm, as that is what he says every single day. Any day you feel healthy and strong is a beautiful day, and I think we can all learn from that. That being said, I can't find too many other things to do, so I end up going to bed early, and I wake up to a beautiful sun the next morning. Miraculously, all of my crops survived the typhoon. I'm assuming it may have reduced their quality slightly, but who knows, there's no way to really keep track. Even though I had a great time, I want to make sure everybody was safe during the storm, so I catch up with my fellow Zephyrians. First is Angelo, who's telling me that on stormy days, he feels lazy and wants to stay in bed all day. It's fine, Angelo, we know you, you don't have to blame the storm. I will admit, I judged Cindy too early. She thought the storm was really cool, and wished that every day was like that, me too. Her sister Lauren, not so much, she was a bit scared, but she is asking the real questions. The mayor wears a hat every day. What does his hair look like underneath? There are so many secrets in this town that no one will ever know. But I can't let myself get distracted. The cow festival is starting. I participate with Milky, who's at 5 hearts already. She's happy and healthy, so it's a good day for her and I'm feeling confident. There are 3 of us. My competitors are Yancy and Max, 2 ranchers from out of town, who are proudly showing Felix that it's okay to drop the hat. The rules for this festival are simple. It's a race, and the animal that reaches its owner first wins. The race starts, and from now on, it's all in Milky's hands or hooves. I just get to watch and see what happens. Despite a slow start, halfway through the race, she catches up to second position. Max's cow is far ahead in first, but then, in an unexpected turn of events, Yancy's cow overtakes the 2 other cows and claims the victory. Well done, Yancy's cow, well done. Milky and I end up in 3rd position, but hey, at least we're in the top 3, right? The same day next year will be the chicken festival, so Milky will have to wait a while before she can get her revenge. I spend the next few days preparing for the bazaar, and in addition to my usual cheesecakes, I make tomato salads with tomatoes, onion salads with onions, very simple stuff that will pay off. Friday morning, Wilbur comes to tell me I can now use the last windmill, the one near the hotel. I think he's confused as it is the 2nd windmill. There will be a 3rd one later, but let's go see. So we go there, and this one can be used to manufacture items like accessories, tool upgrades, and more. Most of these require materials like ores and gemstones that I've never seen, but the one thing I can make right now is yarn, which will sell for more than unprocessed raw wool. The yarn is ready in time for the bazaar, so I pick it up while I'm on my way there. But now that I have 4 chickens that need to be brought outside one by one, which takes a lot longer than pushing the larger animals, plus the fact that I'm cooking most things I sell, My preparation in the morning takes longer and I get to the bazaar around 1 p.m. It's a bit late, but still I make 25,000 in 5 hours, my best day so far. I have a few fish and less valuable items left, but the bazaar closes in 45 minutes and I have some shopping to do. I spend almost everything I have at Wilbur's shop for a field expansion. I know it's not my storage, but it will allow me to make more money. And then I also buy some oil that I want to try using for cooking. Sorry Stacy, I can't afford any wrapping today. I only have 6G left, but wrapped or not, I make sure to give a flower to Sherry. I'm still not in the top 3. Wilbur is number 1 with 58,000. Half of that coming from me, so you're welcome. But sincerely, he fully deserves it. Overnight, he cut trees and cleared this whole area next to my house, built some stairs, prepared the fields, everything. He doesn't even need any rest. The same day he's out and about, telling me that I should be getting some exercise. That man is my new role model. That field expansion may have been my best investment so far, but I can't say the same for the oil I bought from Chen. I mix it with an egg in the windmill to make mayonnaise, and it turns out that was not as good of an investment. At 95G, the mayonnaise itself sells for less than 1 egg, plus it cost me 100 for the oil, and there's no way to make oil from scratch as far as I know. So until I have a really high windmiller level, this will be selling at a loss, and I won't be making any more. Keep in mind, there could be some recipes requiring mayonnaise that would be profitable. Dishes are really hit or miss in terms of profits, but I don't know many recipes, and with how limited my storage is, I try to avoid having to deal with extra ingredients if I can. So mayonnaise was a mistake, but you don't learn if you don't make mistakes. Another mistake I've been making recently is not selling to Raoul more often. Yes, he doesn't pay full price, but things lose their freshness quicker during summer, and once in a while I stumble upon some old flowers or fish in my storage that lost almost all of their value. I've been relatively good at managing this so far, but there is room for improvement. So I will hoard the valuable products for the bazaar. The cheaper items will go to Raoul directly. And with the money I get from him, I buy radish seeds for my second field. With having to water everything twice a day, time flies. And it's now Saturday the 25th, which, if I calculated correctly, should be the last bazaar of summer. For the first time, I make some radish soup. That is just milk and radish, and if it ends up being profitable, it could replace my cheesecake. I'm running late again this week. I'm sweating, scrambling, trying to get everything done. I get to the bazaar at 11, but there's no one, and all of the shops are closed. Well, I was rushing for no reason. I return home to check my calendar, and the bazaar has been pushed back to the next day. Because guess what? Today is Kevin's birthday. Postponing the most popular bazaar in the region for a kid's birthday is a bit intense if you ask me. But what can I do? When I go see Kevin to congratulate him, he tells me I look bored. I love how upfront he is, and yes, I am bored. But I blame his parents. He didn't choose to be born on a bazaar day. I give him a walnut as a present, a cute walnut. And before we part ways, he tells me how Felix is protecting the town and taking down bad guys with his muscles of fury. I have not witnessed any of that yet, but I have no reason not to believe him. Fast forward to Sunday, the bazaar is happening for real, and I do make it on time. Every single bowl of radish soup sells for 1,320G, which is really good. I don't have a lot of them this week, but since it's only 2 ingredients and radishes are growing really fast, I will try to make as much as I can for next week. With this, it's another record-breaking day for me, with over 44,000G in sales. I told you earlier how having all of these chickens would pay off. Indeed, since I have 4, Enrique is now selling cats, who will help me herd the chickens in and out of the barn each day. I spent 10,000 on this cat that I name Turnip because she's white like a turnip. I spent another 10,000 at Wilbur's shop for, yes, finally, a storage expansion. The shopping keeps going. I spent another 10,000 on a frying pan, very expensive frying pan, that will allow me to cook more dishes. Then I buy a peach tree seed from Sherry, and this one will not make fruits for a long time, but might as well get it now because her stock of seeds will change next month. As always, I should also get her some gift. Let's try this pumpkin soup from the cafe. And yes, wrapping a soup like this is maybe not the best idea, but I couldn't support Stacy last week, so let's do it. I already tried the red and blue boxes, so the choice is easy, let's go for the yellow one. Sherry is very excited as we finally found her favorite color, but as she unwraps it, she's not a fan of the soup, which I imagine must have spilled everywhere in the box. I also have this fish in a red box for Wilbur. I just want to thank him for all of his hard work. All the money I made today would not be possible without him. He laughs while opening the gift, but I think he likes it. After the bazaar, I plant my cherry tree, water my crops, and I wake up the next morning to a new friend, Turnip. Enrique is here to tell me everything I need to know about pets. Just like the other animals, they have to be fed daily, and I can train them using toys, but I don't have any of those yet. The more trained the pets are, the more animals they will help bring in and out of the barn each day, with cats taking care of chickens and dogs taking care of cows and sheep. Before we can see Turnip in action, it is worth listening to Felix's announcement, as I make it to second place this week after a long time not being in the top 3, and I receive a very nice gift for once, curry bread. Back to Turnip at 8 AM, she runs and grabs a chicken as if it was her kitten. I would be so panicked personally, but chickens here are very chill and let themselves get carried to the pen outside. I have to take care of the 3 other chickens until Turnip gets more training, but she is still saving me a bit of time. With the money I have left over from yesterday, I buy some pet food from Raoul, then I go all in with radish seeds. I completely fill up my new field, I till, sow, and water everything. I don't think I ever worked that hard in a single day. It is exhausting, I do all that I can to recover my stamina, so I eat my curry bread, take a bath, use the restroom, jump on a barrel, put a flower in my vase. In the end, I manage to do all that I need to do, and I feel strong and productive like Wilbur. But now, there is a new problem I need to face. So the radish soup did well, I will keep making them for as long as I have radishes left over. But since it requires milk, I won't be able to make much cheesecakes anymore, which means I will end up with dozens of unused eggs. I need to find something to do with all of these eggs. Let me ask Joanne for advice. As I make my way to the cafe, I see Ivan chatting with Freya. I thought I was over him, but I can't help myself. I have to know what they're talking about. It goes something like this. Freya says, "Hey, Ivan, shouldn't you be at work?" And he responds, "Well, what about you? Shouldn't you be at work?" Turns out she forgot some documents for work. He also forgot some documents for work. They're both surprised that they're forgetting things, praise each other for their hard work. It ends with, "We all make mistakes, let's try not to forget things anymore." They are a bit awkward but cute, and I'm not jealous at all. I'm tempted to join them and say, "I forget things as well. Ivan, I forgot to tell you just how much I miss you at the bazaar." But never mind, forget it, I'm too shy and they're already walking back to town together. Let's not forget why I'm here. I gotta go to the cafe for some recipe. So Joanne teaches me how to make pancakes. That sounds like a great idea, until I take a closer look and see that it requires not only egg, but milk, flour, butter, and honey. That is 5 ingredients. My goal was to keep it simple, and I'm sorry, but pancakes without maple syrup are not worth it. However, I get a spark of inspiration. You know the frying pan I bought at the bazaar? Don't ask me how it works, but by putting 1 egg and 1 milk into it, I can make pudding. This type of Japanese pudding can also be called flan or creme caramel depending on where you are. It's usually something you cook in an oven, but I'm a great cook, I make it work with a frying pan. Technicalities aside, it is simpler than cheesecake, and I will be able to make a lot every week, especially once I run out of radishes and can't make soups anymore. There's just one slight annoyance, it is that while I can cook in batches, each batch can only contain ingredients of the same quality level. All of my 4 chickens are producing eggs of a different quality. They don't stack, so not only are they taking so much space in my storage, but also I will need to cook with all of them separately. Very tedious, but it will be worth putting in the work. On the last day of summer, I harvest all my radishes, tomatoes, then I catch up with Joanne to tell her about all the cooking I've been doing, and she teaches me how to make an herb salad. That is a mix of mint, chamomile, and lavender. I've not seen lavender yet, but that is about to change very soon. The next morning, leaves are falling to the ground, colors are changing, and the air is getting cold. It's already the first day of fall, which falls on the same day as the bazaar. This is a perfect timing as it means I will be able to purchase seeds right away instead of having to go through a slow transition like last month. Things are looking up, I'm excited for what's to come. I love how fall is looking so far, but part of me is wondering if the grass is greener on the other side. Let's find out, so I run to the other side of town, and yes it is. Either the climate is completely different here, or they are using fake grass, but the bazaar looks exactly the same as it did for the last 2 months. Wait, so then why was Ivan so persistent on asking me what my favorite season was for the bazaar? He obviously knew it was always the same because he's been here for a while. Was that a hint? A warning? Could it have anything to do with Claire and Sherry? Or with what Felix is hiding under his hat? I can't tell you what's under mine. A tiny tinfoil hat, but I can't let anybody see it. Let's just keep it cool, this place is fine, everything's fine. No, but also I've been wondering, why are residents of Zephyrtown wearing hats at a much higher rate than people from other places? People don't wear hats as much in Mineral Town or in Olive Town, and out of all of these tourists, almost none of them are wearing hats except for the little weird chicken kids. Oh, and this farmer girl, and oh my gosh, she's coming to ask me a question, she knows. She wants to know where Lloyd is, explaining that she's a very big fan of his. How would anyone be a fan, or worse, a very big fan of Lloyd is beyond me. What is happening? Is he a cult leader? I tell her where to find him, and hopefully nothing bad happens to her. Okay, everything's fine, I gotta focus on my salads, my soups, my puddings. I'm probably just getting tired and making things up. I make 35,000 G, pretty good week. Let's think of something else with some retail therapy. My first stop is at Felix's stall, and oh, he's selling axes all of a sudden. Not the reassurance I was looking for. I might need one. But first, I have to buy a cow so that I can make more puddings, and of course, some seeds for the new season. Olive and tea tree seeds, then yam seeds, green pepper seeds, and Y pepper seeds. That was not a question, it is the letter Y and pepper. Safe to assume it stands for yellow pepper. They're practically the same as green bell peppers. Their image on the bag looks like an onion. Their name doesn't even fit within the character limit, but somehow they managed to make it into the very small selection of crops. A very interesting choice, but this might be my first and last chance to grow Y peppers, so why not buy a few bags? One nice thing about fall crops is that they're all harvestable multiple times, so I'll just have to plant them once, and I should be good for the rest of the month. What I'm not realizing as I'm looking at all of my seeds in my bag, trying to figure out if I should buy more, or if I bought too much, is that time is still ticking. Before I can buy more seeds or even go back to Felix for the axe, he announces that the bazaar is over. It's fine, I still got a good amount of seeds, I plant and water them, and I make it to bed around 1 a.m. The next morning, Felix gives me some oil, a reward for being number 3 at the bazaar, and we are now halfway through our goal of becoming the best bazaar in the country. The great thing about the fact that I ran out of time to spend all my money yesterday is that today, I can get eggplant seeds from Raoul to fill up the rest of my field. I am just missing one thing to be fully in the mood for the season, and that is, of course, a new drawing. The beach was fun, but this is Maple Farm, so I draw a maple tree, a pumpkin patch, an eggplant, no Y pepper, sorry, a scarecrow, and the gentle wind gusts of Zephyrtown. I know the bar is not very high, but this is my best work so far. New season also means new things to forage, and I find some lavender, the missing ingredient for the herb salad. So, what is so special about this herb salad, you may ask? Well, it is Sherry's absolute favorite gift. She loves it so much that when I give her one for the first time, her heart turns blue, which sounds bad, but believe me, it is good. She likes me more than ever before. The only issue with herb salad is that it also requires chamomile, which I cannot find in fall. I should have about 4 left in my storage, so I will be able to make a few more salads, but if I had known earlier, I would have saved up on it. With the freshness system to take into account, some recipes can realistically only be made at specific times of the year, and honestly, I quite like the planning that it demands. Love is in the air this fall as Sherry and I are not the only ones getting closer to each other. I told you Angelo was going to find someone. Here he is showing his sketch of a tree to Daisy. She's very impressed. Obviously, she hasn't seen my maple trees yet, but then she gets sad because she can't draw really well. Angelo tells her not to worry too much about quality and technique, and that what matters is the emotions and practice that you put in. Honestly, great advice. Daisy's feeling a bit more confident, we love to see it, and these two look so cute together. On day 6, some of my crops are ready, such as these yams. They're actually sweet potatoes, but this video is too long as it is to get into why. And with them, I can make baked yams, or I should say baked sweet potatoes. I will be selling those at the bazaar, along with raw green peppers as I don't know how to cook them, and some leftover radish soup. For the second bazaar of the month, I make almost the same profits as last week. I can't complain. I only have about 30 minutes to shop. No one seems to have bought the axe yet, I think we're safe. Let me get this bell for the animals. I expand my storage a second time, and I brought an herb salad from home with the intent to wrap it for Sherry. But for the second week in a row, I run out of time and the bazaar closes before I can finish everything. It is another late night of watering crops. I try my new bell to bring the animals back inside. They get upset as I'm waking them up, and I already regret my purchase. Honestly, it takes longer to ring the bell and wait for the animals to walk than just pushing them. At least now I have more room in my storage, so that's where the bell is going to go with my sickle, my hammer, and all of these other tools I don't really use. Also, I'm not sure if it's the stress from being waken up by a loud bell in the middle of the night. It could be, but Cloudy the sheep is sick. Raoul at the rescue has medicine for sale, so I get some from him. Cloudy's fine, as if nothing happened. I need Cloudy to be healthy if I want her to keep producing wool, which does sell for a pretty good amount. And speaking of, as I'm picking up some yarn from the windmill, Isaac shows up. Again, he wants to check if any of the parts need to be replaced. Turns out they're still in good shape, and I level up from an apprentice windmiller to a novice windmiller. It doesn't sound like too much of an improvement, but it should increase the quality of what I make. I also become a novice critter catcher, and whenever I have the chance, I throw some bugs at Lloyd as that's what he likes. Back to my farm, I harvest a lot of peppers, green and white, yam, eggplants, but I will have to store them for longer than usual since this week there is no bazaar at all. On Saturday, it is the entree cooking festival, and on Sunday, the dessert cooking festival. I don't know too many entrees as most of what I've been cooking so far has been salads, soups, or desserts, but I experiment with this fish called Dark Sleeper. Very mysterious name for a fish, and I know it looks like an apple pie from here, but this is a fish stew, a 3.5-star fish stew. Let's see how it goes. The day of the event, I hand it to Felix, and I meet the other contestants, Claire, Freya, and Joanne. Starting with Sherry's mom, maybe? Pierre, the gourmet judge for the event, compliments her tofu steak, saying it's tasty, has a nice aroma. He doesn't seem overly impressed, but we all know Claire is a great cook. Then comes Freya, who made grilled fish, a dish very similar to mine, which worries me. With her busy work schedule, she doesn't cook very often, and it only takes a single bite for Pierre to realize he's not into it at all. Next is Joanne, which, if you ask me, it's a bit unfair that she's here. She's a professional, she's the only one here who cooks for a living. She should be a judge if anything, but anyway, let's see what she made. She prepared a farmer's breakfast, which Pierre absolutely loves. According to him, every ingredient was cared for, and he can taste the attention to detail. Of course, it's her specialty dish that she's been making for decades now, probably before I was even born. At this point, I feel like I don't even stand a chance with my apple pie, my fish stew. It's my turn. I'm so anxious, standing in front of Pierre, looking at him, looking at my stew. At first, he seems surprised, shocked. Is it good? Is it bad? And then this heart pops up. What a relief. Against all odds, it's not just good. He claims it's excellent, and that only the finest ingredients and the highest skill could bring out a taste as magnificent as this. That is too much. I'm so pleased, but also confused. Are we looking at the same fish stew? Am I missing something? Wait, does he think I'm the meal? I'll never truly know, but he announces the results based on taste, smell, and presentation. And the winner is Josh. That's me. Sorry, Joanne. I don't know what to say. I'm just shocked. Pierre thanks me for the wonderful meal and gives me a truffle. For the dessert contest the following day, I prepared this 4-star yam dessert. It's a yam, butter, an egg, a bit more complex than the fish stew, but most importantly, I look good, I smell good, I got this. Same contestants as yesterday. We start with Claire, who made a Mont Blanc. Not too sweet, has a wonderful aroma, and apparently she makes them all the time for Kevin. Freya, what can we say? Pierre is careful not to roast her. She does it well enough on her own, showing up with this roasted apple. He says, let's move on, and now comes Joanne. This may look like a normal cake, but apparently it's amazing. The harmony of the fluffy sponge cake and velvety chocolate is spectacular. Pierre is absolutely loving it, but he has not tasted the last dish yet. So here I come with my yam dessert. He smiles and says, fantastic. This dessert absolutely explodes with delightful flavors. The sweetness is perfect and it smells transcendent, fabulous. Again, I'm speechless. This is even better than yesterday. And again, according to him, based on taste, smell, and presentation, I win. Well, that was fun, that was interesting. And before wrapping up the festival, Pierre says he owes me a special congratulations and gives me this pink diamond. I'm really going to miss this guy. He has a great taste. And I never had anything as valuable as a pink diamond before. What do I do with this? I asked Raoul and he could buy it right away for 27,000 G, which is so tempting. Using the windmill, I could make a brooch, which would probably be worth even more, but I am missing some of the other materials that look pretty hard to obtain. So I'm thinking the best thing to do would be to sell it at the bazaar just as it is, and that way I can reinvest the money into my farm as soon as possible. I'm so excited for that, and I spent most of the week cooking. I'm so confident in my cooking now. I prepare some pudding, roasted eggplants, baked yams. The only things I don't know how to cook are the Y and green peppers. On the 20th day of fall, Isaac gives me access to the last windmill, for real this time, and with this one, I can grind, for example, wheat into flour, or crops into seeds. This is amazing. I will make sure to keep some crops aside before the end of the month, but we're not there yet. Now, it's time to return to the bazaar after a 2-week break. I've had my stall open for less than an hour and already, this old gentleman buys my pink diamond for 43,200. That makes my day, my week, my month. Thank you so much, Pierre, and we're just getting started. The truffle also sells for over 1,400. Maybe I should have kept it for cooking, but keep in mind, things don't stay fresh forever, storage is limited, and I'm just trying to sell as much stuff as possible. I still have quite a lot of inventory left at 5 p.m., but I made 100,000. This is gonna be a bit harder to spend, and I don't want to run out of time like I've been doing the past few weeks. I buy a dog that I name Gray because he's gray, then a cow, a third field, and a bigger stall so that starting next week, I can go through more of the items I want to sell. For this week, I just sell whatever is left to Raoul, and now I have a bit more money to continue shopping. Felix is selling a stethoscope. Why not? And I get the axe, just in case. And lastly, from this guy, I buy the one cooking utensil I was missing, this seasoning kit. For the very first time since I moved into this town, I make it to number 1 at the bazaar. I have the happiest customers as well, but still all I get from Felix is some mayonnaise. He could learn a few lessons in generosity from Pierre. My dog Gray will be herding one large animal in and out of the barn every day, but similarly to the handbell, pushing them myself is still pretty fast, so he won't be of much help until he's more trained. Using my stethoscope, I can take a closer look at the status of an animal, which is good, but it is especially useful for chickens, as you can't usually pet them like the other animals, so this tool lets me get extra affinity points with them every day. Before I take a look at my new field, I need to harvest as there is so much, and then I go to town for the wine festival. Yes, there is a wine festival in Zephyr Town, and you usually have to bring your own, but just like for the tea party in spring, Felix gave me a hand for this year. Everybody thanks me for providing the wine, you're welcome. I'm seated with Stuart and Ethel. We're drinking sparkling wine, definitely not what I brought, but we have a few glasses, we eat some good food. I receive some free cheese when the party is over. Who doesn't love free cheese? And that's it. We're approaching the end of the month, so I use the windmill to prepare seeds for next year. It will take a few days and each crop will turn into 2 seeds. So not only will that save me money, most importantly, this is how I can obtain higher quality seeds. What Raoul sells is typically half a star or 1 star sometimes. So using fertilizer, I can slowly increase the quality of my crops, make slightly better seeds. And now I have some seeds that are 1.5 stars. There's still a lot of work to do, but it is a slow process. As I am making all of these seeds, Isaac shows up at the windmill and you know how it goes. He wonders if parts should be replaced, but no, they're fine. This is such a weird little event. I don't know if he will actually ever replace any of the parts, but now I am a good windmiller. What I am taking away from this month is that quality is way more important than quantity. Since there is a limited amount of time each week to sell things, that the size of the stall is limited, the storage is limited, things go bad over time, it's much better to have fewer but higher quality products. Still, I know I will need to increase quantity as well one day or another, so here is my third field above the second one. I plant a few fruit trees to grow on there, but there's not enough time to really grow anything this year. Speaking of trees, I get 1 grape and 1 muscat from the very first trees I planted. It's not much for now, but starting next year, I will be able to make wine throughout the entire season. On the 30th is the last bazaar of the month, my chance to make as much as possible before winter, which I predict will be slower. To help me with this, now I have a larger stall where I can display up to 6 items at a time. I still don't go through everything by the end of the day, but I make 47,000. Felix is selling pet toys this week, so dog bones and cat bells. At 2,500 G each, they're not cheap. And I am confused because there is an option to buy multiple, but they don't look like they would be one-time use items. I'm not too sure of what I'm doing, but I go for 1 bone and 3 bells. Before we play with our pets, I buy a cow and a sheep since I will be relying on animal products next month, get some mushroom rice from Joanne, and sadly Stacy closes her stall before I could wrap it, so I give it just like that to Sherry. Now time to play with Gray and Turnip. I can throw them their toy once a day, and they will gain training experience, allowing them to herd more animals eventually. I do think that the toys can disappear under certain conditions, but they are not one-time use, so buying 3 bells was a waste of money. For the second week in a row, I am number 1, and Felix listened to the feedback, as this time he gives me wool, a pretty good gift. We're also very close to becoming the best bazaar in the country. On the last day of the month, it is a Pumpkin Festival, where kids are expecting candies or other sweet treats, so I prepare a few puddings. They trick or treat very early around here, and shortly before 9 AM, little Kevin comes knocking on the door. He says, "Give me candy or you're in trouble." I wouldn't want him to summon Felix and his muscles of fury, so here's a pudding. Cindy and Lauren are not showing up, but it turns out I had to go in and out of my house between 9 and 11 for them to appear. I missed my chance for that to happen, but it's okay. I don't mind doing a delivery. They don't bring up the Pumpkin Festival. The only thing that is on Lauren's mind right now is still finding out what Felix is hiding under his hat. I still have no answer for that, but I give them both some pudding, and that's how we wrap up the month. Very few things in life are more exciting than waking up and seeing everything covered in snow. It's so beautiful, it's relaxing, magical, and the music makes it all even better. That feeling won't last long, but let's enjoy it while it's here. It's not clear whether or not animals can go out, but it is sunny, so I bring them out, and if they're all sick tomorrow, well, we'll know it wasn't a good idea. Before I go discover everything that winter has to offer, it's time to update our art. I want to go for a blue sunny sky, shiny white snow, a beautiful snowman, a Christmas tree that ends up looking like a Pop-Tart, a few presents, a frozen river, some snowflakes. I'm fully in the holidays spirit, and I've been saying this every month, but this might be my best work yet. Let's go play in the snow. Some things never change. I throw some flowers at Cherry. The only difference is that now there is this snowman judging me. The river is frozen, I can walk on it, and with how bouncy and fun the movement has been so far, you would think I would slide, but nope, the ice isn't slippery at all. There's still some fun to be had though, as with my hammer, I can finally use my hammer, I can break the ice and do some ice fishing. Let's try it here in front of the cafe and see if there is some unique winter fish. First catch, empty can. It happens. Second catch, empty can again. They say third time is the charm. No, it's not. 4, unfortunately, I cannot get any fish even after 5, 6, and 7 attempts. It's all just cans. Maybe I need a special fishing rod or technique for winter. Let's just try on the other side of the river, here in front of Raoul's shop. First try. Oh, look at this, a real fish. I try again in front of the cafe, and we're back to empty cans. We need some muscles of fury to look into how Joanne is disposing of their garbage. Until that is sorted out, I give up on fishing. Luckily, there are other ways to have fun, such as snowballs. Like most things here, snowballs are bouncy, and some even contain treasures like flowers or rocks, which I'm sure would make for very thrilling snow fights. The fun is only getting started as the following day, I receive a gift from Felix, the best thing I've seen so far. This comes as a complete surprise, but on the 20th, there will be a snowboard tournament. You heard that right, a snowboard tournament here in Zephyrtown. The reason Felix is telling me so well in advance is because he wants me to participate, so I will need some practice, and for that he gives me a snowboard. I can't believe it, I'm over the moon, but I should get my work out of the way first, which is just caring for the animals since there's no farming in winter. By the way, I noticed that my dog is bringing a sheep outside, which confirms that yes, it is okay for animals to go out during winter. I've never done snowboarding before. What better place to learn than the stairs in front of my house? As soon as I equip the board, I gain some momentum down the stairs, and I can move around for a bit until I come to a stop. It's not much, but it's working, I got this. I'm ready for something bigger. Outside of my farm, I slide down this hill. Hey Lauren, Cindy, look at me! And then I make it all the way to the other side of the bridge near the town's entrance. I'm having way too much fun. Now, let me show you where the tournament will be taking place. On this curvy, dangerous-looking rocky slope near the hotel. It goes really fast, trust me, this is harder than it looks. But I have this track in my mind that I can do pretty well after a few tries. I go all the way down the slope, go south, cross the bridge, and reach the west part of town. I've just been free roaming so far, but then I look at the sign at the top of the hill, and I can practice the course for the actual tournament. There is a beginner and an advanced course. The first year is going to be on the beginner one, so let's practice it. There are now a few cones throughout the slope, so I have to dodge those. And the track is different than what I was practicing. Instead of going towards the bridge, I have to go up near the hotel, and there is this small, narrow slope that I have to get on, and it is a bit tricky. If I hit any obstacle or wall, I lose practically all of my speed, and with how short the track is, there's really no margin to allow for recovery. Time is what is being evaluated here. I have no clue what time I'm aiming for, but on most of my runs, I make a mistake and finish around the 8-second mark, and I have a feeling that won't be good enough. Before I stop for the day, I give a shot at the advanced course, and that is pretty much the course I was doing on my own earlier. So it feels easier, but anyway, it's not what we're doing for the tournament. I'll be coming back here frequently to practice, and I'll let you know whenever I see some improvements. Another joy of winter in Zephyr Town is mining. This is not much of a mining town, but at this time of the year, these colorful ores magically appear on the snow. I can break them with my hammer, and most of the time, the reward is almost the same as when fishing, but instead of empty cans, it's scrap metal. Once in a while, however, I do get something more valuable, such as copper, and ores can be used to make accessories or tools using the second windmill. This is not explained very clearly, but for example, if I combine my fishing rod, one piece of lumber, and some copper, I can make a short fishing rod. The fishing rod I have is already the short one, so it is confusing, but it's actually a way to upgrade it, as tools here have a star quality, and with a better rod, I would catch higher quality fish. There's also a medium and a long fishing rod, which would allow me to cast farther away and get different types of fish, but I don't have the materials for those, so let's do the upgraded short one. It's also my first time using the axe, and by cutting these small branches, I get these big beautiful pieces of lumber, of course. By the way, you never really need more than 1 or 2 pieces of lumber at a time. Farm upgrades and expansions are all paid with money. So the axe, just like the sickle, the bell, and even the hammer when it's not winter, are mostly just staying in my bag in storage, just in case, because you never know what could happen in Zephyr Town. Speaking of unexpected things, the next morning Felix shows up with this man, whom I've never seen before, and he's not wearing a hat, suggesting he's not from here. Felix has a favor to ask. He wants me to take care of this guy, as he's going to be staying in town for a while. He introduces himself as Amir. He seems shy, he's probably just sleepy, it's 6 AM for him as well, and I can't wait to get to know him. Felix also cannot wait. Right away he tells me this is a secret, but he's a prince. He's Amir Ranjit Raj Singh, that's his full name. Don't tell anyone that, you and I are the only people who know. But I told you because I want you to help him get used to this town. Do you think you can do that? Felix leaves. There's a bit of an awkward silence before Amir Ranjit Raj Singh says thank you and leaves as well. I have no clue what's happening, but I'm glad I'm not the only newcomer anymore. I will have a friend to discuss all the strange happenings of Zephyr Town with. We will see more of Amir later. He lives at the hotel, but priorities, I need to focus on my snowboard practice. For the first time, I managed to complete the course without hitting any obstacle, with a time of 5.43 seconds. For the Winter Bazaar, all I have is pudding and a bit of yarn. In the second year, I could probably make products that don't expire, such as wine, and save them for winter, but for now, animal products are what I have. It's not much, but I comfort myself with the fact that I am where the grass is greener. I imagine it must be pretty warm as well. And this might be in fact the best season to be at the bazaar. By 12:30, all of my puddings are gone already. I made 19,000 and I closed my shop. It's been a while since we've seen Stacy. I'm sure business must be booming for her at this festive time of the year. I'm also in a generous mood, so I get both this boiled potato and milk stew wrapped up, as usual in yellow boxes that will be for Sherry. I start with the milk stew, but I didn't learn my lesson from the pumpkin soup, and Sherry doesn't like it too much. I continue my shopping. All of the seeds for sale are random selections for the other seasons, and I would need a basement, which is the equivalent of a greenhouse if I wanted to grow them, but I still get some potato and asparagus seeds in preparation for next spring. Obviously, I'm nowhere near making it into the top 3, but winter doesn't cease to amaze me. This morning, inside of a snowball, I find, you'll never guess, another snowball. I wonder if this could go on forever. Maybe you can find a 3rd or 4th snowball if you're lucky, but sadly for me, there is nothing in the 2nd snowball. I also find some ore containing a moonstone, which seems pretty valuable. But with all of this, I forgot I was supposed to show this new guy around. So I go to the hotel to see how Amir is doing. I don't know how this business is surviving. How can they pay Daisy and maintain the building with Amir being the only customer the entire year? Is this a front? What's going on? And why did Amir move here in the first place? I check all the rooms to find him. I can't find him. Luckily, I don't walk in on anyone, but I can confirm that there's no other guest. As I get out of the hotel, I see this snowball and things are getting weirder by the day, as inside is a curry dumpling. Who knows for how long it's been in here, but it's still super fresh, as well as spicy, hot, delicious, just like me if you were to ask Pierre. I finally find Amir hanging out by the river, so I give him the dumpling, and he doesn't care too much for it. It's clearly not his favorite, but we chat a bit, and he tells me he likes how peaceful it is here, that it allows him to forget about his worries back home. On other days, he's spending time by the fountain, which reminds him of the one where his sister used to play in, and now he's wondering how she's doing. Our prince is very mysterious. I'm dying to know why he came here, what happened to his family, but that story would be too long to tell in our short 100 days here. We would need at least 1001 nights to go through everything, so that could be for a future video. Instead, we can catch up on a simpler love story, the one of Angelo and Daisy. I am eavesdropping again, and they're eating cookies. The cookies are from the city, they're crunchy, they're chewy, so good that they don't want to keep them to themselves, but who could they possibly share these cookies with? It's my time to shine. I walk up to them. Hi Daisy, hi Angelo. What are you two doing? Oh, you'd like to share cookies with me? What a great timing, I was just walking by. But it's not this easy. Before handing me the goods, Daisy has a question for me. She asks if I like sweets. And I have two options here. I could say, I prefer spicy foods. Totally normal response for this conversation, but I have a good source of curry dumplings already, so I just tell her that yes, I love sweets. She then proceeds to give me a few cookies. No, that's what I was hoping for. She gives me half of her cookie that she already started eating. And Angelo looks a bit confused or jealous, which is fully understandable. I'm so sorry for ruining your date. I'm full, now let me go burn that half of a cookie with some snowboarding. Maybe there was something good in that cookie. I do my best run yet and beat my record with a time of 5.25 seconds. If you thought the snowboard tournament was going to be the only event this winter, don't worry, there's more. On the 10th, we have the Dog Festival. I enter with Gray, who's not very experienced yet, I've not even had him for a month, but it can't hurt to give it a shot. The other contestants are from out of town, Larkin and Bernie. The rules are the same as for the Cow Festival, but there's not as much suspense this time as Gray stays behind for the entire race, and we're not close to winning anything. By the way, I've been testing my new short fishing rod. I might be catching a bit more fish, less garbage. The quality should be better as well, but honestly, it is hard to tell the difference. At least it helped with my windmiller level, as once again, Isaac comes in to check if any parts need to be replaced, and I'm now a veteran windmiller. When I get to the bazaar on that weekend, I instantly recognize this lady walking towards me. She looks at my puddings, says they're very cute. I agree, they are cute. But she has little hearts in her speech. I've seen those before. She's the girl who tried to ruin my reputation when I gave her a free walnut, and now she wants free pudding. She's not gonna trick me this time. I ask her to pay, and I don't know what kind of mind games she's playing, but she tells me that I won and pays me double the regular price for the pudding. Sure. Right after, Amir shows up, looks at this dragonfly that I have, and says it's calling to him. Going with the mind game of the day, I tell him it's double the price, but that doesn't work with him. He calls me needlessly rude and leaves. Very fascinating interactions this week as always. But on a brighter note, I sell my moonstone for over 8,000 and I finish with 37,000, not too bad for a winter bazaar. In fact, it's good enough to make it into the top 3. I received some free honey as a reward, and we're now officially the best bazaar in the country. There will be new shops to discover, and our next goal will be to become the best bazaar in the continent, with weekly sales goals of 80 to 100,000, which I can tell you right away is not happening. On the 14th is Winter Harmony Day, which is when girls give chocolates to boys. I didn't give anything in spring, so I'm not expecting too much. Sherry doesn't even mention what date is. By the way, I don't think she or anyone even mentioned my birthday last month, so I am a bit sad. And there's not too much happening today. After doing some research, when you're supposed to be on the receiving end of Harmony Day, it works the same way as the Pumpkin Festival, where you have to go in and out of your house at a specific time. And I could have received a few treats if I had known. When I was at the bazaar the other day, I bought some orichalcum from Lloyd. First time getting something from him. After all, he is my rival, and I was hoping to find some ores by myself, but I've not been very lucky with the rocks. I have to admit, he is good at this. So I upgrade my watering can, which takes a day in the windmill, and I can't really show it well when my fields are covered in snow, but I can now water 2 tiles at a time, or if I jump, 3 tiles at a time, which will save me a ton of time when spring comes. And I am seriously starting to look forward to all of this snow melting. I do like the change of pace, taking a break from farming, doing more socializing, breaking rocks, throwing snowballs to find curry dumplings or other snowballs, doing some snowboarding, but days are getting long. I'm getting better at completing the course without any mistake, and I beat my record again with a time of 5.08 seconds. Thankfully, we still have the bazaar each week where I can forget that it is winter for a day. It's also been upgraded, so let's take a look at the new shops. First, there's this fortune reader who can tell me my fortune for 100G. I try it so you don't have to. Here's what the fortune teller says. Abracadabra, what fate lies in wait for you? I think there's a problem with that sentence, but let's keep going. Your lucky color is orange. You will sense great love from those around you. So, did that enlighten you at all? Feel free to come back at any time. It did not enlighten me at all, no, but somehow, I'm kind of hypnotized. I feel compelled to do it again. Abracadabra, what fate lies in wait for you? Your lucky color is black. You should express your individuality. How did it change so fast? This is for sure a scam. Let's see what else is there. Oh, there's this girl selling lottery tickets for 300G. I buy one, she looks at it and says, sorry, this ticket isn't a winner. She has some advice for me. She says, remember, you have to rely on your luck when you play. Come again sometime. What kind of advice is that? I don't know how I'm supposed to rely on my luck. It has to be some sort of coordinated scam with the fortune teller. Still, I'm under their spell, I'm intrigued, so I try a second time. Still nothing, and a third time, I win the 4th prize. 4th prize sounds pretty exciting until she hands me this fish bone. Yes, this girl is hoarding dead fish in her stall to give out as prizes. I don't know why I'm torturing myself like this, but I try one last time just in case and nothing. The only legit new shop is Claire, who is doing competition to Joanne with her homemade dishes. I buy one of each to support her, and there is also Isaac who opened the shop this week, but I completely forgot about him. I get a gift wrapped for Sherry, who now has a green heart, and I leave early to practice my snowboarding. The tournament is tomorrow. I practice for a few hours, and I don't know if it's the nerves or a curse from the fortune teller, but I mess up a few times and I can't beat my record. I get a good night of sleep, and when it comes to the bazaar, I am completely out of that race since the goal went to 80,000. I'm not anywhere close to that. I have an hour left before the tournament starts, so I practice the track one last time, and I can somewhat reliably make it in 5 seconds and a half. Now let's get to the real thing, and here are my 2 competitors, Marshall and Ash. First round, 3, 2, 1, go. I slide down the hill flawlessly. I lose control a bit at the bottom. I almost miss the slope, but I'm fine. A little jump up to the hotel, and I get to the finish line in 5.62 seconds. Pretty good time, but I know I can do better on round 2. I'm so ready for round 2. Let's do it. Oh, wait, no, that's it. I was under the impression that a tournament would have more than just like one 5-second race. But that's it, that's just that one single round. Ash beat me by 1/10 of a second. while Marshall was 2 seconds behind us. So I don't receive any prize, and next year the race will be taking place on the advanced course. I had so much fun practicing for this, but I can't lie, the actual event was a bit underwhelming. Kevin says I look bored, he always says that, but he couldn't be more right today. I just have to push through one final week of winter, and there is something fun I would like to try before the new year. So apparently there is this little money hack that some people are doing in Zephyrtown. You buy bags of fodder and fertilizer from Raoul, as many as you can, and you put them in one of the windmills to make grass seeds. Let's try it. I put a few dozens in there, I can't fit anymore, and now all we have to do is wait a few days for the results. I'm excited to see how it turns out. Meanwhile, I continue my routine as normal. On the 24th is the Starry Night Festival, which is the most romantic event of the year, where you need to invite a partner the day before, meet them at night on the 24th, and I could have had an amazing time with Sherry. But I'm sorry, I just completely forgot. I realized this on the morning of the 25th, as I'm home alone with my pets and there's no way to turn back time. I should still make the most out of the holidays, so I go spend some time with Sherry, then I catch up with Ivan, who's teaching Lauren and Cindy, who are doing their school at home. On the 26th, it's Amir's birthday, so I give him some milk. He likes it. While I'm at the hotel, I say hi to Daisy, Stuart, and Ethel. I have a lot more friends than I thought, and I'm starting to fit in. On the 27th, my grass seeds are ready just in time for the bazaar. I have 120 of them. Don't worry, Isaac, the parts don't need to be replaced, and I'm confident when I tell you this because I'm now a great windmiller. The grass seeds sell for 560 each at the bazaar, similar to the price of the pudding, but they are way easier to make. It feels like cheating. I don't know why grass seeds are so popular. I think I just figured out how Stuart and Ethel are doing so good, and I end the day with 75,000 G. I get some seed for spring, a bigger bed. Oh, and here's Isaac's shop. He runs an information center, and information centers are free in most places, but not here with Isaac. He sells the inside info, as he calls it, for 100 G. Inside info is what I've been craving for months, so I give him my 100 G without any hesitation, and he says, well, this is just a rumor, really. Like, he's about to give me a scoop on some family secrets, on Amir, on what's hiding under Felix's hat, but he tells me that if I forget to water a crop and they get dry, I can water them back to health. Sir, that's a basic fact, not a rumor. I'm so tired of being scammed. Claire was really the only legit new shop. I want to spend my money on something concrete, so I get a few ores from Lloyd, and ask Gannon to upgrade my storage so that I can keep things fresh for longer. I get some dumplings for Sherry. It's 6:55. I don't want to bother Stacy so close to closing time, but I will miss her. This was the last bazaar of the year. My big bed has already been delivered when I get home, and it has a new duvet with these yellow birds, flowers, or maybe they're stars, I don't know, but it looks very clean, comfy, with enough room for Sherry, or Ivan, or Pierre, or Amir, or Stacy, or just me and my pets. I'm in no rush to find a soulmate. I make it to number 3 for the bazaar, which is all thanks to my grass seeds, and Isaac, of course, who's been making sure that none of the windmill parts have to be replaced. Our goal to become the best bazaar in the continent is still far away, but I know we'll get there someday. Before we end the year, my dog Gray levels up so he can now herd 2 animals per day, which will make my daily chores easier. I also upgrade my watering can for the second time, as well as my hoe. On the 31st, everyone is here in the plaza. Well, Lloyd is still not completely here, he doesn't know what day it is. Some things never change. Antoinette is all by herself in a corner. We've not spent too much time together this year, so I decide to wait with her and have a little chat until the festivities start. Then we do the countdown, everybody together, share a lovely feast, and that's how my first year in Harvest Moon Grand Bazaar ends. Zephyrtown is regaining its vibrant spring colors. Animals are happy, and I can't wait to start farming with my improved tools. There is still so much work ahead, as the bazaar level is at 50%. I have 5 hearts with Sherry, 3 with her dad, and even the strangest characters this community has to offer are growing on me. I still have about 200 cooking recipes to learn, 30 something fish to find among the empty cans, 60 more critters to catch, and many mysteries remain unsolved for now. But maybe we will find our answers in the 2025 version of Zephyr Town. In the meantime, let me know about your time with Grand Bazaar, your experience with these games, and thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. This took a very long time to put together, but I had so much fun, and I hope you did as well. If you would like to watch more videos similar to this one, I played 100 Days of Echoes of the Plum Grove, so feel free to check that out. And of course, I will be posting a ton of content on Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar in the coming days and weeks, so you can expect a review, tips and tricks, live streams, and so much more. Leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Hey, yeah, 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 hey, 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 yeah.